Djembe is primarily played on the western coast of Africa. Africa is a huge continent, and when you go from one location of the continent to the other, you'll find that the culture changes a great deal. Most of the countries that you find djembe, those countries were colonized by the French.
The tabla drums themselves, which is a set of two drums, a high pitched and a lower pitch. They're the classical drums of the North Indian music system, which is also called Hindustani. And they accompany such instruments as sitar, sarod, the Indian flute, vocal, and also Kathak, the dance form. So it's a very old tradition. We value that tradition and contemporize it, but still within the parameters of the classical material.
The Brazilian battery itself has a whole dynamic of instrumentation. Most people identify with the surdo, which is the deep drums that you hear. But for Brazilian music, there are so many small instruments that create melody and sound, which makes that particular style and technique so interesting. There's pandeiro, there's the tambourine, there's berimbau. There's so many different instruments that represents that culture that it's almost like having a toy factory. African tradition is the basis of at least three of the techniques. Even Brazilian music stems out of African culture and tradition. And batai, although the form that we play is from Cuba, the origin of it is from Nigeria. Batai is a double-headed drum, and the range of both sides of the head are totally different. So one end of the drum is wider than the other, changing the tone and range.
The mother drum is called the iya. That's the big one. It's got bells on it. That makes the calls for all the other drums and solos. They're referred to as the mother, the father, and the little child.